Oh, man, that's harsh. Boo DC. Nolan's Batmans are the only good ones, and even then Dark Knight Rises was subpar. Holy shit. The savagery already out there, guys. Late again. I'm not late. I started the stream on time. I just let the intro run for a couple of minutes. Because we got this nice music. Listen to that. I'm enjoying that. I just picked one randomly. I should actually add the into the description. I'll put the link in the description. Right, so DC movies. Guys, DC movies. We've done tons of these, but DC movies, all of them, well, all of them's a strong term. There are very strict rules to the list, as always. It's important. Music. Okay, the music's in the description. You guys want to check this out. It's just chill. Yeah, no, it's not every DC movie ever. It's not every DC Comics movie ever, because there are a whole universe worth of animated DC movies as well. That would be like a whole different tier list. It's like a whole different thing. I could have added all those in here, but then anyone who doesn't know them would be very confused. So there's all those. There are some TV movies out there which aren't here. These are only theatrically released ones. And you'll be surprised to see some of what was theatrically released. For sure, I was. I've got them in chronological order here. And my favourite piece of trivia that I've learned ever is when I found out today that Superman and the Mole Men was the first ever theatrical release of a film featuring a DC Comics character. Superman and the Mole Men. It was just like, you get some of these like TV movies that are really just pilots or failed pilots for TV shows. There's some of those out there. There's one for The Flash in the 90s. I don't have that here, because that was never theatrically released. That Superman one was somehow. That's unbelievable. All F, oh my god. The Dark Knight is ass. Having to watch the first Suicide Squad, it's painful. And Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern, you know. There's some sadness there. I gotta say, as a child, right, I was more into DC Comics to read than I was into Marvel Comics to read. You know, I loved a lot of what DC had. I loved a lot of their stuff. I was a big Superman guy. I was also a big Captain America. I liked Marvel as well. But as, you know, around when I got really into comics, like 2011, they were doing the New 52. It was like a great jumping on spot, and I was really enjoying so much of what was going on. I just became more of a Marvel guy because of the MCU films. And then the comics kind of evened out. All of these suck other than Aquaman. Oh my god. These are weird opinions. You guys are all over the place. Yeah, no, right. So I as much as yes, now you would probably call me like a Marvel fanboy, I'm more irritated that DC can't get it right, because I want them to. I'm not going, yeah, all DC movies suck. I like both. I just want to see DC succeed as well as Marvel. And they just aren't. They just keep fucking screwing themselves up the butthole. And it's really upsetting. So, anyway, we got a bunch of tiers here. I'm going to go through. We're not going to put everything on F. DC Boo. Aquaman and BVS are the only decent ones. Interesting choices. Okay. Right. Well, I mean, we got all these other ones as well from pre-DCEU, so we'll kind of see if... We'll go through them in alphabetical... Well, chronological order, okay? Finish this early and put them all F. Oh my god. Guys, the savagery today is weird. Okay, Superman and the Mole Men. Right, let's talk about this. It's a film from the 50s. It was the pilot for what I think was successful. I think they went on and did a proper Superman and Lois kind of TV show in the 50s. And it was... short. It exists. It's about 60 minutes. Superman and Lois, well, Clark and Lois, go to this town, and these mole men came out, and they accidentally scare this guy to death because they're so ugly. and then this guy in the town, like, he organizes this mob, and they go after the mole men, and Superman has to save them, and one of them gets shot, and he brings him to a hospital, and then there's a mob outside, and Superman stands guard at the hospital. And these other mole men come with this weapon and try to kill the mob leader, and Superman stops them. So it's really a peacekeeping film. Like, it's not much of a superhero film. There's no like real big bad guy. It was just kind of an hour of Superman trying to make sure nobody died, which is very different to anything ever. All F, all F, all F, all F. Right. Strong opinions. So no, it's not like the most tragic thing in the world to watch. It's very dated, obviously, but compared to some of what we've got here, I'm tempted to give it like an E, just so we have somewhere lower to go to show how bad other stuff is. It is Superman and the Mole Men. Like, it's not good, but you know. The 1966 Batman film, the Adam West Batman film, this accompanied a TV series. I think it was either a precursor or came after the series. I can't remember. I always get that mixed up, which way around that goes. Either way, though, it is campy as hell. There's a few big villains in it. At least all of his big villains are in it. But it's, Andrew, what is happening? Jesus. But it's not that bad to watch back. It's quite funny to watch back. In its own way. I don't think I can put it like all the way down, you know. It's probably better than Superman and the Mole Men. I'll give it the D. Yeah, well. Just so that, you know, because I feel like I would still rather watch that back than a lot of more modern stuff, you know? Andrew, dude, stop. Not everything is going in F. That's just not a fun tier list. You gotta work on a scale at the very least. You gotta scale it out, so it's, you know, not that. I'm not putting them all in F. The original 1978 Christopher Reeve Superman film, okay? Meghan Markle F. Alright, well. I don't know what's happening today. You guys are savage out there. My gosh. I thought some DC fans would tune in. Oh my goodness. So yeah, no. The Christopher Reeve Superman film is good. It's, again, any of these from before. I mean, honestly, like the Avengers, like the 2012 Avengers film, looks visually dated for the superhero genre, looking at today. It's not even been a decade. So obviously everything all the way up to like at least Batman Begins looks dated in terms of the superhero genre. And then stuff like Green Lantern still does anyway, even though it was made later. But Christopher Reeve's first Superman film, for all that, is probably still the best Superman film for me. Yeah. I still think it's good. It's not, like, phenomenal to watch back as a superhero film, but it is, like, it's actually still a good watch. If you put Dark Knight S tier, I'm unsubscribing. I've got to put something on S tier on every tier list. I'm working on a scale. Doesn't mean I'm saying it's as good as other stuff in other categories. It means I'm saying it's good for this. Dear Lord. Scary threat. So yeah, no, Superman, probably like a B. I don't know if I would put like Man of Steel or Superman Returns or anything like above that. It just feels iconic. And in the 70s, you could get away with the Boy Scout feeling in a way that is harder to do today. That's why, like, Man of Steel had, like, a slightly darker tone to it and stuff like that, you know? Superman 2... I mean, Superman 2, look, it's got some good stuff in it still. It told the story of Man of Steel in a way. It also had... also had Superman giving up his powers to be with Lois Lane, which I don't think was ever a thing anytime in the comics. It was a complete thing that the filmmakers came up with. That was interesting. To watch back today, it's not great. It's very campy. It's, you know, but probably still as good as like the Batman 1966 film. I'd probably put it on that sort of level. They're both watchable, campy, fun in their own way. I don't think Superman 2 holds up very well. Not like Superman 1 does. Swamp Thing is interesting. It's amazing, isn't it? They'd done Superman, they'd done Batman in film by this point. But all the other DC characters, Green Lantern, Flash, Wonder Woman, these were well-known characters by this point. Swamp Thing was 1982. And somehow Swamp Thing got a film before any of them. It's always quite astounding to think about. In fact, he got two. Because they did Swamp Thing, then they did The Return of Swamp Thing. And, I mean, Swamp Thing was made by Wes Craven, okay? Who is a memey, campy, funny guy with his own sense of humour, who's done a lot of unique films, you know? And yet somehow, The Return of Swamp Thing was like a million levels of campiness above it, which is really saying something. Like, The Return of Swamp Thing won, like, Golden Raspberry Awards for how crap the leading lady was, that sort of thing. It was really quite something. The first Swamp Thing... I don't want to put it on D as well. We're kind of filling up that tier a lot. But honestly, yeah, I think it is. It's weird to watch back today. Wes Craven... He's a unique director. He does his own thing. He focuses on doing his own thing. It was something. The Return of Swamp Thing, though... It's kind of funny in some ways, but like it probably is really that bad. Like, genuinely. Superman 78 comic is coming out next year. Oh, that's interesting. They're doing that. I know they've done a lot with like Batman 1966 quite recently as like a comic series. Does anyone remember the 1980s Wonder Woman Superman romance arc? Oh, they did one of those more recently as well in the comics. Yeah. Weird stuff. But yeah. I mean, it makes sense in a lot of ways. They are practically the same character. They're both really Boy Scouty kind of heroes in their own way a lot of the time. So it kind of makes sense that they'd find solace in each other. Weirder when they, in some Elseworld stuff, do like Batman, Wonder Woman. I always find that stranger. Superman 3 is real bad. Andrew, you're getting very savage down there. You may need to calm down for a little while there. Yeah, Superman 3. It's bad. I mean, it's bad. I'm trying to think, because you've got like Supergirl, which is also really bad, and Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. And people argue a lot about which is worse, Superman 3 or 4. It's kind of like how they argue which is worse, Star Trek 1 or 5, you know? Right? 5? Yeah. I think so. I think... I don't know. I probably think Superman 3 slides in there and Superman 4 there. And then Supergirl's probably around there as well, you know. Green Lantern was actually supposed to be the start of the DCEU. It was, and then it was just that bad. And that would have been good if they could have actually kicked it off and made like one of the other characters other than Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman popular quickly. It's like taking Iron Man to start a Marvel Cinematic Universe. You know, now he's considered like, oh, it's Iron Man. Iron Man is Marvel. Wasn't that way in 2007. Iron Man was not a huge character. It was all Spider-Man, X-Men, Fantastic Four. And that's how it always was. So not having any of them, they did that. Problem with DC maybe is they had all their characters, could do whatever they wanted, and just went too crazy. But anyway, so that's about right. Supergirl, actually, people talk about as if it wasn't that bad at the time, but watching it back today, it is that bad. It's that bad. Superman 3 is obviously, if you don't know, Superman, in those 4 films, Superman 1 was, he dealt with Lex Luthor and stuff, and it was kind of, origin stuff was in there. Superman 2 was all like Zod, and then Superman 3, Superman got hit by this ray thing, got split into 2, good and evil Superman. And then Superman 4, he was back with Lex Luthor, but Lex came up with Nuclear Man, was he just called? It was a bad time. That was a really bad time. They did Batman 89 comic recently. Oh, Batman 89 comic. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, cool. Oh. Well, Batman 89 is still... It holds up well. It holds up well. I don't know, maybe it's just because I didn't actually see it when I was that young. I feel like I'd have like a lot of nostalgia for Batman 89 if I saw it when I was that young. I didn't. But I always thought, like, Michael Keaton he's a great Batman. I don't know how good a Bruce Wayne he is generally, but I think it's still very good. It's kind of like the Superman 1978 for me. Like, in superhero terms, they could do something better as an individual Batman film today. It is still really good, though. Jack Nicholson's Joker was, like, super iconic until Heath Ledger. I don't know. I might actually be a bit sneaky here. I might put it on B as well. I might put it alongside that. I think about them similarly. I don't know. I think about them as like this iconic original telling of that story. You know, Superman 1978 had Lex Luthor, as Batman has the Joker, and it is such like Christopher Reeve and Michael Keaton you view with that kind of But I don't know. I never really got super hyped about any of the older Batman movies. That one is good. You agree? Yeah, I think so. I'm calling it. He puts Batman 89 in S or A tier. Okay. Well, whoops. Batman Returns is then, it's campier. It's, well, I don't know, actually. You look back on it, Joker, Jack Nicholson, pretty campy. But Batman Returns it had Danny DeVito as the Penguin, which was phenomenal, but also, like, super campy. Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman was also, these are all, like, in those first two films they did in that series, like, that was all really iconic Batman stuff. He was, like, the proper darker Caped Crusader, and a lot of iconic versions of a lot of characters there. It was when they really went for way too many characters and opened up the campy side of things again a lot that it really got messed up. But I'll probably go C for Batman Returns. It's got a lot of great stuff about it, but it isn't, like, really all that phenomenal. Batman Returns was A tier for me? Oh, I didn't think there was anything that was going to be A tier for you the way you were talking. These next two are not good. Actually, these next four are not good. Yeah. So, right. You know, and it was a kind of natural progression in a Batman franchise. You opened up, it was just Batman. You had Alfred, and you had Joker, and you had a woman, just a woman, you know. And you did a Batman film, and it was good. And then you did a sequel, and you introduced Catwoman. Good. And Penguin, another big villain. Good. Things are working. Things are okay. And then you introduce Riddler, another big villain. Okay, makes sense. And you do Batgirl and Robin, and you just keep going, you know? And it just got so fucking bad. I mean, it wasn't Michael Keaton, so there's that. Looking back, Batman 89, I don't like this film. The problem with it is it focuses too much on the Joker and have him be the killer of Bruce Wayne's parents. What was Tim Burton thinking? That was a strange choice. That kind of... It was trying to make everything like almost too neat in Batman's mythology. I get what you mean. But no, I still like it to watch back. I still think it's a really iconic view of those characters, even if obviously Nolan's kind of modern day taken over how people view it iconically, the Batman mythology. I'm trolling you. I enjoy DC other than the Dark Knight trilogy. Really? Okay. Justice League equals A. Huh. Okay. Batman Forever, it's not good. Neither is Batman and Robin. That was where they had Arnold Schwarzenegger making the Mr. Freeze puns a lot, and Poison Ivy. And they had them two work together, which really, it should never work. They're both bad films. Are either of them F? I mean, F is like criminal. You know? I'll exhibit this by putting these in F. I'm sorry, but you know the way people talk? When they talk about Shaquille O'Neal in terms of acting, they like to make a meme out of Kazam. You know? Kazam. Oh, everyone's like, oh, Shaquille O'Neal and Kazam. That's like, oh, you know, if you were to say like, oh, what's your favorite bad movie ever? They'd be like, oh, I love Shaquille O'Neal and Kazam. What a campy, glorious 90s ridiculous masterpiece of shit. People don't even remember Shaq as Steel well enough to laugh at it in a similar way. Because it was so bad that it was actually just entirely forgotten. You know? That's how bad that is. Nobody even, like, I think it ruined Steel as a character, because nobody even remembers him in DC Comics nowadays. He's still around sometimes, but they don't talk about him a lot. It was supremely, unbelievably bad. It seemed like it was riffing almost on, like, the superhero TV show of the time. You know, of those, like, those specials and things, because it was such a memely bad version of them, you know? But it is tragic. It's just tragic to watch back. Catwoman is maybe even worse. It's so offensive to every aspect of the character. And the worst part is, Halle Berry probably could have done a pretty good Selina Kyle. But she wasn't Selina Kyle. She was not Catwoman. She was a woman with cat powers. That's not Catwoman. I shouldn't need to say this. It's not Catwoman. God. So yeah, no, I don't think Batman and Robin or Batman Forever really get to that stage. I'll put Batman Forever maybe here, being kind, and then Batman and Robin down here. It's just so... I don't know. I kind of feel quite similarly about them. I wanted to put the whole series on different tiers, but maybe honestly they're both like down here. I don't know. That's harsh. That's harsh. We'll leave it for now. Yeah, no, that's just kind of the level they're at. Those two, it's just so sad to see the series that seemed like it was going pretty well there for a while. Just takes such a sudden, horrific dip. And I mean, Michael Keaton left, so that's the reason why. Keanu Reeves and Constantine. Constantine's a really fun character. I liked the Matt Ryan TV show they did. I thought he was like a much more comic accurate style version of the character. And they could have done a lot of good with that, except that it just didn't get a lot of... It just didn't get a lot of advertising, really, I felt like, and was cancelled after one season. But he got to do other stuff with the character. Still, the Constantine film, Keanu Reeves, it was enjoyable. It's not a fantastic film. It's enjoyable. I saw Steel in an animated Reign of Superman movie. Yeah, he's a character that pops up now and again as like a side character, especially to Superman, but he does not get his own comics and stuff really so much nowadays, I don't think, because Shaq messed him up that bad. Yeah. Constantine, I'm probably going like a C. You know, it's pretty good to watch back still today. It hasn't really aged at all. It's got a nice cast. It's got fun, interesting characters. It is this strangely dark take on the whole thing, but it's a dark character. I'm voting Christian Bale as the best Batman / Bruce Wayne. I feel like he did both parts well. You know, it's a weird Batman voice, obviously, he had. But I felt like he was a good Bruce Wayne. I felt like Michael Keaton was never a great Bruce Wayne. I actually felt like George Clooney was pretty good Bruce Wayne, not a great Batman. Val Kilmer was pretty bad at both, I thought, really. I actually thought Ben Affleck could do both really well. Just never saw it in enough proper action. He just left. And to be fair, DC is a mess right now, so it's understandable. If they were actually building a cohesive universe around those characters, Ben Affleck could have done it. He's a bit old, but he could have done it. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of where you're at leading into the more modern age. Nothing all that great. I do think these are like iconic views of those characters, but they are pretty dated to watch back now. Batman Begins, great film. Liam Neeson, Northern Irish, what a man. Christian Bale, good take in general on Batman. Nolan's films feel epic, you know? And sometimes they feel slightly overindulgent. Tenet was a bit overindulgent into that style, but they do feel like big events, you know? They always do. And Batman Begins, it's probably an A tier for me, you know? It's probably up there. I feel like it was doing such a good job of beginning this mythos. You know, it didn't jump right in and use Joker immediately. It didn't jump right in with Robin or Catwoman or anything like that. It was just him on his own becoming this fighter, this warrior, this vigilante, and then not really a detective. Never really a huge detective. Boo. Okay, there's a lot of booing from that. Look, I don't feel like this is a controversial statement, you know? But okay. I mean, if you're just going to keep booing me and calling me names, Andrew, I'm just going to like time you out in chat or something. Yeah, what do you mean boo? I mean, you can have your own opinion on it, but that's not really constructive. Anyway, I do feel like it's up there. It had Scarecrow in there and then used Ra's al Ghul, and that's a really good way of doing an origin for Batman, having him join the League of Assassins and then fight Ra's al Ghul as he tries to stop him. I felt like that was a really good take on it. Batman Begins A, Dark Knight S, Dark Knight Rises B. You might be onto something there. Superman Returns. It annoys me, okay? It annoys me anytime people do this. It annoyed me with Terminator Dark Fate. Now, the Terminator films got pretty messed up in there, okay? But then to come back to the series and go, I know I was away and let you fuck the whole thing up, but now let's just pretend none of that happened. Terminator 1, 2, and then Dark Fate. That's the trilogy. That's cheeky. In the same way, they came back 2006, cast Brandon Routh, who I quite like in general, as Superman. and said, okay, Superman 1, 2 from the original Christopher Reeve series, and then let's pretend this is happening like 5 years later, okay? Let's just ignore 3 and 4. That annoys me. That annoys me. Can anyone other than me hate the Dark Knight trilogy? I'm sure people do. I'm sure people don't like that take on it, but I feel like as much as they're not, like, it didn't build a whole Batman franchise in the way it could have, and if they'd actually gotten ahead of themselves and thought, let's build other DC characters into this, that could have worked. That could have worked. They didn't do that, and that's always going to be kind of annoying because of what DC have messed up with it now. But I think the Nolan trilogy is, like, phenomenal. Green Lantern is not as bad as people said it is. Yes, it is, but that's okay. I feel like Superman Returns, like, I didn't think Brandon Routh was that bad in the role. I didn't think anything about it was that tragically bad. It's not great. It's not great. It's not for that good to watch back. It's not. As much as we might want it to be, as much as you might want to go, oh, but look, it's a modern take on Superman that was slightly more kind of lighthearted than like Man of Steel. No. No, I don't think it's close to the original Superman movie. It's probably because Superman 2 is so dated now, it's around that level. I don't think it's much worse than that. But it's not better than that. Yeah, no, I'm not going to argue with, you know. You can think what you want, but Heath Ledger, the whole cast, you know, Heath Ledger is so good in this film, but the whole cast, Gary Oldman, Morgan Freeman, Bale, Michael Caine, it's such a good cast. I mean, like, Aaron Eckhart as Two-Face, that's like the best he's ever been at as well. Yeah. I'm not gonna try and say that, no, it's not as good as everyone thinks it is. It is. It is. This is one of those films where everyone says it's that good because it just is, okay? People argue with Nolan's take on it. That's fine, I get that. I get what you're saying, Andrew, that you don't like that style. There's always going to be people who don't like films, but I feel like quite objectively, as a film, it is actually that good, you know? As a superhero film, maybe less good. It's still very, very good, though. Most mainstream opinion ever. I'm sorry, I'm trying to look. People who laugh when someone says The Godfather is my favorite film ever. That's not my favorite film ever, but, you know, people who say, oh God, oh, you think Game of Thrones is one of the best TV shows ever? People who say, oh, you think Avengers Endgame is the best Marvel movie? Yeah. Popular? What's wrong with liking popular things? What the fuck is that, like, point of view? That's ridiculous. Most mainstream opinion ever. The Dark Knight is a very good film. Oh, that's... Oh no, I'm basic now. What the fuck? This is a tier list ranking, and what's more, I don't base it solely on my opinions. I never do. I try to take whoever's watching's opinions into account. Just because it's popular doesn't mean it's good. I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm fucking saying. You're saying that it's bad because it's popular. That's what you said there. Most mainstream opinion ever. How dare you like that because other people like it? What the fuck? That is so fucking stupid to say. That annoys me so much. That is ridiculous. To just say that. I think, in my personal opinion, when I watch The Dark Knight, I think it's better than Batman Begins. Batman Begins, I think, is objectively to watch back, partly because of graphics, partly because of great casting overall, partly because superhero genre is just taken more seriously today and gets bigger actors, bigger directors in. It's better than these older films. So, am I saying The Dark Knight is the best film ever? No, I'm saying it's at the top here because it's better than these other DC films. Let's move on. It would be great if Steven Spielberg directed a Superman movie. That'd be interesting to see. In this case, great. It is great and popular, yeah. Say Princess Bride is terrible, I dare you. Don't say that, guys. Don't say that. I'll come after you. I'll come to your house. I'll kill your family. Anyway, Watchmen. Oh, shit. Here we go. This is the beginning. All right. Another popular opinion here, I think. Zack Snyder. I don't like Zack Snyder. I don't like Zack Snyder movies. It's not that I just blanket hate them all. I don't think all of them are bad movies. I don't like the style. I don't like that much slow motion. I think you take films like Nolan's films. I just said it there like 5 minutes ago. I said Nolan's films, they feel epic. Not just the Dark Knight trilogy. Nolan films in general, they feel big events, okay? Snyder films feel like they take that a step further. They jump right off the cliff. You know, they don't try and hang you off the edge of it and go, whoa, this is huge. They're so self-important. They're so up their own asshole. Every time. And in some cases, they're so full of jacked, sweaty, half-naked men that the testosterone of them, it just boils over and the films just feel irritating to me. And this is the case with most of what he's made. I don't think so much with like his Dawn of the Dead. But after that, he did 300. And I liked that a lot when I was younger. But watching 300 back today, I'm kind of going, wow, that's a lot. Like he really, it's too much. That's too much. Watchmen is the same. It's too long. It takes such a stunted view of these characters, who I really like. I really like the Watchmen comic. And it's just, I don't think it's objectively a bad film. Some people do. I think it's fine, but I'm probably not putting it much above, like, there. I'm not going to be like this for every DC film Zack Snyder's made, but I'm pre-warning you that, I don't know. I think he's very incredibly self-important as a director. Like, look at, like, Sucker Punch as well. It's not on this list, not the DC film, but Sucker Punch. You know, it's the prime example of that style being, like, too much. You will get arrested if you kill someone's family. That's true. Princess Bride's worth it. Fine, prove you're not just saying something everyone else says by putting a bad movie you like in A tier. What? One second, guys. What the fuck? Boo, boo, boo. Okay. One second, guys. Trying to deal with this shit. How do you, God damn it. Trying to figure out how to get rid of people, you know. Ooh. Oh, there we go. That worked. All right. All right. So, sorry about that, guys. Let's see. Zack Snyder is the worst ever. You can't, can you exactly? What? Man of Steel is the worst Superman movie ever. I don't know. I mean, Superman 3 and 4 were pretty darn bad. Pretty darn bad films. Yeah. Maybe he doesn't like bad movies. Velocipaster. Mod me up. Yeah, you know what, Becca? I should make you a mod. I'm accidentally going to, like, put you in a timeout or something. There. Ah, there we go. I'll let you sort these things out. Is in A? Oh, what, Velocipaster is in A? If it was a proper comic book movie, maybe, you know, it's a classic. I wish Man of Steel was never made. Ouch. Harsh. You know what I wish was never made? Jonah Hex. Jonah Hex is also a DC character. You might not know him that well because, again, he got shafted. This time by Josh Brolin, of all people. Thanos. Cable. Incredible comic book characters, but he also did Jonah Hex before that in a film where Megan Fox co-starred. Oh, you know, that's saying something. And it was just it's such a bad take on everything about the character. It's not really anything like the character. It's not... It's probably not a full-on F. We got some bad films in F there, but I'm going E with that one. Green Lantern. Yeah. Green Lantern is... Look, I think it does get a bad rap. Worse than it deserves. Because, let's face it, it's gotten so much shit, primarily from the guy who starred in it, that you almost do feel like, whoa, okay, you don't need to be that harsh on it. And it's not good. Like, it's not a good film. You know? Ryan Reynolds is in it. But he was in a lot of bad movies. You know, he's got a better run of his career now, but like the Naughties and right at the beginning of this decade, well, this past decade, I suppose, like 2011, 2012, he was making a lot of bad stuff, guys. Give Green Lantern another chance. Dude, I mean, I saw it like last year again. I watched it again. Like objectively, it's just, well, it's all subjective, but feels like most people would agree with me that it's bad. Just Friends was a bad Ryan Reynolds movie. Most Ryan Reynolds movies suck until about 2014, maybe. There's probably a couple of good ones before then, but generally, he was in a lot of bad movies before then, guys, and then he just became like a meme level of himself. And now he does great stuff. I love Free Guy. Thought that was great. Hitman's Bodyguard, Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, so much fun. Even when they're like kind of bad now, they're still like a ton of fun. You know, they didn't used to be like that. Green Lantern wasn't like that. I watched it again fairly recently, and I gotta say, it's probably... I mean, E is slightly harsh, but D would be slightly kind. Given what we got in D. You know? I think I would almost agree with Dark Knight Rises in like B, somebody said. Possibly. So was his first run as Deadpool? Oh, Origins Wolverine. I was about to say, what, the first Deadpool movie? No, you meant Origins Wolverine. Yeah, it's a bad time. It's a bad time. Even then, you could see that he was perfect for the character, like at the start of that film, even with the bad writing. But it was anyway, yeah, no, Dark Knight Rises, I might put in B. Here's the thing, like, I'm a big fan of Anne Hathaway's Catwoman. I felt like they could have done a whole movie on that. I loved her in that role. Tom Hardy as Pieman was obviously fucking insane. You know, it was very cool, some of the fight scenes and stuff, but like, it was kind of fucking madcap. Still had a lot of great characters. Joseph Gordon-Levitt was also very good in that role. I didn't really want to see him like actually end up suiting up as Robin. I'm kind of glad that we didn't. We just saw the tease of it. But I liked a lot about The Dark Knight Rises. It's just that it's fucking mental. It's just that it's fucking mental at the same time. Like, it's so good in so many ways, but it is fucking insane at that point. So I'll kind of leave it there. Like, it was such a grounded take on Batman, the first two in that trilogy. And then that one was like, what? I would put Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy a god tier. I know what you mean. Like, as a whole trilogy, it's... I did think when I did a trilogies tier list that it's one of the best ever. I do think that. But Dark Knight Rises is fucking mad. I liked that it ended happy. For Batman and Catwoman together. I liked all that. Thought it was just nice. Nice ending in a lot of ways. It was fucking mad though, a lot about that film. Man of Steel. Look, okay, somebody was saying there like Man of Steel is like one of the worst films ever. It's not. It tried to take this, like... Right, basically what it tried to do was be to Superman what the Dark Knight trilogy was to Batman. It wanted to take this new modern version of the character that felt like it fit more modern day, and as much as Batman was kind of gritty and grounded, this was like inspirational and uplifting. That's what they wanted to do with it. That didn't work. That didn't work. It was weird. It's a weird film. The whole screaming as he like murders Zod at the end thing. I get where the decision making was coming from. It was a weird film. Also, when Zack Snyder tries to be uplifting and like motivational and stuff, it makes me want to vomit a little bit. I did, even in 2013. I wasn't that young. I was like 15, 16. I watched it for the first time in the cinema. I thought, badass, that film was pretty cool. Watching it more recently again, I kind of go, oh, it's not that good. Honestly, I still would maybe put it above Superman Returns, which annoys me for more reasons. Man of Steel did start what comes next. You're right, it should be blamed for that, but, I mean, at the same time... Oof. No, that's true. You know, Zack Snyder directed this. We knew where his plans were going. We knew that he was planning on jumping straight to Dawn of Justice after this. What a fucking psychopath. Still... You know what, I'll put that on D. I think that's slightly harsh, but I'll put that on D. I'm looking forward to seeing your High School Musical fancast. Me too. I don't know what it's going to look like yet. Now we're properly into the DCEU. The whole universe. Yeah, the good and the bad. I suppose Man of Steel technically started it all, but not really. You can't blame Zack Snyder for every piece of it. Just a lot of it. Dawn of Justice is a very Zack Snyder-y film. It's got way too much slow motion. It tries to feel really, really big and epic every single second of it. Way too much of all that. I thought it was a good initial take on Batman. I didn't like when they cast Ben Affleck because of how old he was, and I knew they were trying to start a universe. I liked seeing him as Bruce Wayne in this. I liked the Batman scenes in this. When he was just being Batman, when he went to like save Superman's mother and stuff, it's a great scene. It's a good take on the character, I think. Superman in this follows on from Man of Steel, still kind of annoying, still doesn't really work as a character, still kind of trying to do that like grounded, inspirational, uplifting, weird mix thing. I didn't like it. Overall, watching it back today, how do I feel about Dawn of Justice? And this is like, I'm talking any version I've watched the R-rated version as well. I don't think it adds much. Some people get really excited about that version, think it adds a lot. I don't think so. I think overall it's not a bad movie. I think it annoys me because it's the second film in this franchise and should have been the not second film. Actually, they shouldn't have made it. They shouldn't have made it. You know, this is based on a story by Frank Miller where Superman and Batman faced off when they were both old years later after all the Justice League stuff was like done, after they disbanded. And Batman was old. Superman hadn't really aged. And you don't get like just Batman versus Superman stories outside of that. And you shouldn't. And their initial meeting, they would. They have such different ideals. Maybe they would feel like that. Okay. But it just felt like this was what broke the idea of this being a franchise, of this being a shared universe. You know, it felt like the whole thing hinged upon this working all of a sudden. Because it was introducing these other characters in cameos and Wonder Woman more properly, and it was the big, these two, they've got to like meet and become friends, and then they killed Superman instead. Like, there's so many insane decisions along the process from the start of making Man of Steel to like Justice League that I just can't fathom how they bothered continuing to make DC movies after that instead of just completely rebooting. I do think it's a C-tier film though overall. Like, I could take it or leave it. I think it's fine. I think Zack Snyder's like ideas about how a DC universe should go are so stupid. So stupid. They're so stupid. His idea to do this like 5-part thing, you know, if he got his way, if they restored the Snyderverse, then his 5 films would be Man of Steel, then Dawn of Justice, then Zack Snyder's Justice League, and that's kind of a trilogy, they say now. Okay, but what he wanted to do was do 2 more Justice League films after that, and his ideas are fucking mental. I can see why Warner Brothers doesn't want that. Obviously they don't. There wouldn't be a universe. You couldn't make any other films if you did his Justice League 2 and 3. You couldn't do anything else. You know? There's nothing else there. You're flat out doing just his films. There's no shared cinematic universe. There's nothing. He wanted to like destroy the world and have like Justice League 3 be like post-apocalyptic. Would you then reverse time or something? I don't know. Either way, it feels mental. Anyway, but I think Dawn of Justice is fine. That Suicide Squad, it's bad. It's bad, yeah. And I just rewatched it like 2 weeks ago, before the new one came out, and there's nothing more that I could appreciate about it. They have Viola Davis example, okay, being this badass dark Amanda Waller, okay, and she played the role well. But her role in this is the damsel in distress. Not a badass leading the team behind the scenes or anything. Just a damsel in distress. She gets captured. Well, not captured, but she's stuck in the city. So their mission is to go rescue her. And then they do. Then her helicopter crashes immediately. And then she gets captured. And then they have to go rescue her again. That's the film. That's all they're doing, the whole film. Also, the whole problem is because she fucked with Enchantress. Also, Enchantress, shit villain. And her brother, what the fuck's up with him? Shit villain. It's just a bad film. It's just a bad film. It's just bad. God, we have, you know, generally subpar this list, isn't it? The distribution, but it's like the media to E. Oh, that's bad. Well, it gets better. It gets better, because then I love Wonder Woman. See, then they started making good films. If Superman's ideals allowed that death battle, however less than a nanosecond. Oh. Yeah, Wonder Woman is a great film, okay? And what's the problem with this is I think Patty Jenkins with this film showed up Zack Snyder, okay? In more ways than one. Because Wonder Woman and Superman, I already said, are similar characters. They're both these superpowered... It wasn't Cara Delevingne's fault? No? Oh, no. I didn't say that. Oh, I don't blame almost any actor for anything that goes wrong with the DCEU. It's directors and Warner Brothers and writers' faults. Wonder Woman is a film about this hugely powerful, immortal superhero whose ideals are all good, very good person, of such a good person, such a Boy Scout kind of person, or Girl Scout in this case. And it worked, and it worked really well. And that means, fuck, you could have made Superman work that way too, but you didn't, Zack Snyder. You tried to go darker, you dumb shit. Okay, that's basically what this film did. It said, oh, look, bollocks. Man of Steel could have been just another film that kind of did what Superman 1978 did and been great. Whoops. Wonder Woman, yeah. It's tight. I definitely would say I prefer it to Batman Begins. I don't think I prefer it to The Dark Knight overall. But I think it is such a good take on that character. Obviously, the big thing with Ares at the end, going, oh, it's this random British politician-y guy. It was him all along. Okay. That was kind of weird. But everything about that film was perfect. It was exactly what it needed to be in a lot of ways. It was fan servicey, which it had to be, because this was the first big female-led superhero Hollywood film. Obviously, you've got like Supergirl, Catwoman. Wonder Woman was the first. Okay, it's just easier to remember it that way. Okay, I have put in here separately Justice League and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Technically, same film. It's just the director's cut. It also has as much new footage as it does footage from the other one, so I feel like I had to put them on separately. I feel like it would be too controversial trying to put this on a tier otherwise. Look, right. People who really, really love Zack Snyder will tell you that Justice League, this one, the original release, is the worst thing in the world. That it's a total mess. That it is literally the worst film they've ever seen. And it's not. It's not good. Like, when you make a Justice League film, it needs to be the definitive coming together of all these heroes. It needs to be the centerpiece of that stage of your universe. It needs to be really fucking good. It needs to do a lot for all of those characters. Obviously, it did nothing for most of the characters. I mean, Barry Allen is the funny guy. Okay. And Cyborg is the black guy. He had no character in this one. He had nothing. He's just also there. Jason Momoa is the dude guy. All right. And you could have just made like an Ocean's 11 film with these characters because they're so basic and undeveloped. It's not at all like the Avengers. Any Avengers film, you know? The problem was creating a group film when we only knew 3 or 4 of them. Yeah. So that's what it feels like. It feels like you've kept like George Clooney and Brad Pitt from an Ocean's film and then got like a whole new team. And you're just kind of throwing them all in, introducing them all at once. Ironically, also what Zack Snyder did with Army of the Dead. It's that kind of heist movie like, oh, here's all these characters. This is this one's one-dimensional personality. Here's this one's one-dimensional personality. And that sort of film, it doesn't matter because most of them die quite quickly. And you only need to know a few characteristics about them and then they die. They were planning to have whole ass films for all of these characters after that. After introducing them like that, we're meant to want to go see a Cyborg film after that and a Flash film after that. Holy fuck. It's a miracle that Aquaman still managed to get like released and do well after this. It's not good on characters. It's like alright. Like if it was one of those heistier kind of films and we weren't expected to care about the characters that much, it'd be like, alright. But I don't think it's as bad as other people say. I don't think it's great. Yeah, I don't think it's as good as Dawn of Justice overall, just because it's trying to do, like, as much as Dawn of Justice was trying to set up the whole universe, Justice League feels like it's doing more, because it's all squished together. It's Zack Snyder's original vision, or whatever. I don't blame either Zack Snyder or Joss Whedon for the way Justice League turned out. I blame Warner Brothers for what they did. Yeah. No, I think so. But I think Warner Brothers' biggest mistake was hiring Zack Snyder. Okay? And that's not to say... This sounds very controversial already. It's going to sound controversial no matter what I say. I think that he had such a unique vision, and it... as soon as they said, no, we don't want a 4-hour Justice League film in cinemas, that's ridiculous, they were always going to have problems. You know? And as soon as they said, no, second film in our universe, Dawn of Justice, we don't really want it to be over 3 hours, they ran into problems. Boo Snyder. I don't want to just mindlessly boo Zack Snyder. I think he could make a DC universe. I think it would please a lot of people. I think it would displease others. His films are always quite love or hate. But I think that he's hugely overambitious. He's hugely self-important. And just building a cinematic universe like this, okay? You can't make a 4-hour movie. You know, if Marvel made they made Endgame, but that was after 23 films when everyone was so vastly invested that it didn't matter what they put out. And it was a huge culmination. Oh, yeah, that as well. But you see the difference. They made a bunch of 2-hour movies that people really enjoyed the style of, particularly families who generally, not in all cases, but don't enjoy the style of DC. Even the ones we like. The new Suicide Squad, that's R-rated. And everyone's bagging on it now, going, oh, they fired Zack Snyder. Now this is what happens. Because it's R-rated, so it's not making as much money as it could. And I think Birds of Prey was R-rated as well. And Joker, R-rated. And it's not just that, it's also the fact that, like, none of the Zack Snyder ones are made with kids in mind. Joss Whedon, you could try blaming him, but what he came in and did was make a much more family-friendly sort of version of what Zack Snyder was already halfway through making. So, no, Justice League isn't great, but it was more in that Marvel style. I know, DC fans, a lot of them go, oh, Marvel style, boo. Oh, James Gunn, they just brought him in to do a Marvel kind of thing that would please people. What the fuck? Yeah, they did. Yeah, that's something that's successful and really, really fun. Yeah, they brought James Gunn in to do that. Fuck me. Yeah, no, I'm all, DC fans, the ones who want, like, darker films. I get that in one way. They've always been the darker. They've had Batman, and he got all dark, and he was the first superhero to get really dark and gritty. I get that. You can't make a cinematic universe like that. You can't make a giant, every film is 100 million at least in budget universe like that. It's insane. Aquaman, they didn't try to do that. It wasn't dark. Okay? They took this character, they actually made him darker than he normally is because he's such a little... You know the way Aquaman was viewed up until Jason Momoa. And they changed him. They made him cooler. They made him seem up to date, modern, surfer dude kind of style. Okay, that seems like it could work. And then they make this film. Amber Heard's in it, whatever. But it's a good film. Patrick Wilson's a good villain. And they had Black Manta as well. The only thing I worry about, and I still worry about this for the Aquaman sequel, when you read Aquaman comics, and I do. I've read some of the more recent Aquaman comics. There's some good runs in more recent times. Black Manta, Ocean Master. The, shit, I keep forgetting the name. The Deep. That area that they went into in the first Aquaman film. That's like the big three things. In terms of villains, that's like the three things Aquaman has. Black Manta, Ocean Master, and then those creatures. And they were all in the first film, I think they're doing like the Lost Kingdom, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom or something for the second one, which to be fair could probably still work. But I'm worried that it's going to feel a bit samey to at least Ocean Master, if not just all of these villains, because they've already done three distinct types of villains. The three types of villains. They could make a whole ass movie on those creatures, and they just kind of used it for one cool scene. And to be fair, Black Manta can come back bigger and better for another film, but still, it makes me worried for the future of them. But Aquaman was a very good film. I'll put it on A. I definitely don't think it's on the level of Wonder Woman, but I think it's a very fun film. Jason Momoa is a great lead. It's got fun characters. It does everything that just it needed to make us go, fuck yeah, Aquaman. Fuck yeah, Aquaman franchise. And that was the most improbable one of any of the Justice League members, except maybe Cyborg, for us to go, fuck yeah, after an individual film. So the fact that they managed to make that work, they managed to make Wonder Woman work, it started to make you think, maybe they could make this work. Maybe they could pull this out of the bag. Do like a big Batman film now with Ben Affleck. Oops. Do like maybe a Man of Steel 2. Oops. Do like a Flash film. Well, I'll get there eventually. And then you could do like a Justice League 2. You could pull it off despite that per one that they did. And it just hasn't worked out that way because everything just started falling apart. Nope, Henry Cavill's out. Nope, Ben Affleck's out. And suddenly it's never going to feel anything like they want it to feel. Shazam is another one. They went for a funner tone. People talk about DC movies as being dark. They've edged further and further away from that. Shazam is good. It's a slightly lesser known character. It's kind of almost as much as the Suicide Squad is literally the Guardians of the Galaxy for DC. Shazam feels like the Guardians of the Galaxy film there. That sounds harsh saying boo. Oh, yeah. Shazam took this character he's still well known in DC terms, but he's lesser known than some of these other ones. And they went, okay, we're going to throw out a film for him. And the fact that they've thrown out films for him suddenly, and then like Birds of Prey and stuff, like it's mental. I don't know what direction they're going in, but it was an interesting choice, and it was full on, much more comedy based, and it was there to have fun, and it did. Is it? I don't know. Some people get very hyped over Shazam and say it's like, oh, it's so good. Well, I thought it was good. It's certainly good. That good? Like an A tier? No, I don't think it's as good as Aquaman. I don't think it's that close. I'll sneak it into B. Like I would be almost tempted to go C, but I'll sneak it into B because it is all well done. There's just nothing about it that made me go, woo, Maybe that's just because I don't feel like, is that on the same Earth? I heard at one point when it was coming out that that's on a different Earth to the other DCEU films, but it is still in the DCEU, whereas Robert Pattinson's Batman, that's not even meant to be in the DCEU. That's like a whole separate thing. Like Joker. What the fuck is going on? It's just... it's crazy. As a universe, it's worse than the X-Men films. Those things had no kind of timeline. But at least these characters, we know these characters, these are these characters, and these are the younger versions of these characters. DC universe right now, what is part of it? Is Shazam part of it? I think so. Are we actually going to see him interact with other characters? We didn't. Don't think we're planning to for the next one, except for Black Adam, maybe. It's crazy. It hurts me. Joker, this is another case. You can say it's a mainstream opinion. Joker is as good as people say it is. Joaquin Phoenix probably deserved that Oscar. It's not a superhero film. It's not even a supervillain film. It's a mental health, dramatic film. Some slight thriller aspects to it. It's also just Taxi Driver in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, it's just Taxi Driver. But it is very good. Is it S or A? Difficult to say. I don't like overall, in terms of like rewatchability, regard it maybe highly enough to put it on S. Like as highly as I regard those other two. I think it is very, very good, very, very well done. But again, I don't know. It's such a random film to make, you know? OMG, you're so mainstream. That's such a silly statement. Yeah, no, I mean, it is very good. I don't, you know, just in terms of rewatchability, I don't think I'd rank it as highly as them. And in terms of, like, the universe, obviously, like, what the fuck is going on there? And, I mean, this is the only way I can see them doing it. They were talking about doing Flashpoint as a story in the first Flash movie, which is also insane. Don't get me wrong, but if they did that, and it's crazy early to do it, but if they did that, just Ezra Miller, Barry Allen, whole Flashpoint scenario, okay, resets the universe. That's essentially what it could do. It could end in like a crisis event, and it could reset the universe. And then suddenly when we come back, whoa, what's happened? There's a fully formed Justice League with this. They wanted to cast like a black Superman next. He's there, and Robert Pattinson's in this world now. Gal Gadot's still here. Jason Momoa's still here. But what happened to our Batman and Superman? Oh my gosh, Barry, you messed up the timeline. Oh, you cheeky boy. But then that's the world that we have. It's the one world. Everyone's in it. Shazam could be around with them too. Ta-da. You know, everything could be in the same place around the same time, and you can move forward with a cohesive universe. That's the only way I can see them fixing it. Short of just saying, we're just rebooting now. Joker is like Grave of the Fireflies to me. Good movie, but I'm never watching it again. That's a fair summary. Yeah. It's not got the rewatchability for me of the other ones. Right, let's talk about these next two. Let's talk about the 2020 slate, okay? I don't like Birds of Prey much. I don't dislike it, but I don't like it much. What is it? It's not a team-up film. It's not a team film. It's not really what I want in like a Harlequin solo film. Like you talk about like the Harlequin animated series right now. That's so freaking good. So much of that is so good. And there's a lot about that they could have taken and making a really good like Harlequin film. If they wanted a Harlequin film, that could work. You know? That could work well with Margot Robbie. She's fantastic at the role. But they didn't do that. They just took random bits of things she does, focused down on very individual things, had a really bad villain. Ewan McGregor I love. I love Ewan McGregor so much. Such a bad character, that Black Mask character. Such a basic, annoying, bad character. The style of it was more funny and comedic, which I enjoyed. And I enjoyed some of the characters. I thought like Mary Elizabeth Winstead was really good. And I thought the young girl was like fine and stuff. I thought Black Canary was okay. Didn't get much character off of her. It could have worked. You know, as a team film. It didn't try to be. It didn't have a good villain. It didn't have like a big, interesting, good finale. The fight scenes at the end just felt crap. So, is it better than a lot of these? Yeah. But some people like put it as like their top DCEU film, and I have no clue how. Did Andrew Hackbecker? What do you mean mainstream? I walked a goat today. All right. So yeah, no, Birds of Prey, not great for me. Better than like the first Suicide Squad in terms of Harley and her trilogy of films so far, which, I mean, I guess they're not unrelated. She left prison at the end of Suicide Squad. Then she was like breaking up with Joker and going off on her own in Birds of Prey. And then she talked about how she got back in prison, very briefly, in the Suicide Squad. So it is kind of a cohesive trilogy for her. Doesn't feel like much of one, but it kind of is. And then Wonder Woman 1984. This was one again where I came out of it in the cinema thinking, yeah, good one. Good enough sequel. And then I thought about it. Even after I reviewed it, because I reviewed it and said, yeah, it's not as good as the first one, but it's still very good. And then I thought about it. And I mean, obviously there is the whole, that's an issue thing with her raping that guy once Steve takes over his body. It's just... But there's other issues too. It's very long. It's like a full 2.5 hours. It's trying to do a lot. It had like a 15-20 minute opening scene where she was a kid again, which is a lot. You know, when you're doing the initial origin story, that's fine. 15-20 minutes of her as a child. Another 15-20 minutes of her as a child, really? At the start of this one felt like a lot. And then it felt like it was a long, long time because it was trying to build up both villains. It had two major villains. It focused so much on Pedro Pascal for really not being like a, you know, fighty villain. Not a villain that you can have a fight with in any way. It focused so much on him and his son and his story and building up. It was building him up for like an hour and plus. And it was building the story of Cheetah up for like an hour plus before there was an actual confrontation really with either of them. And it felt insane. It feels insane. Watching it back the second time, I was like, this is mental. It's so long. It takes so long to build both of them up while nothing is really going on for Diana. She's kind of... Eventually she makes this wish and gets Steve and stuff, but before that she's just kind of missing him. She's just kind of working at the museum. And the story is more about like Cheetah almost. And Maxwell Lord for sure. It's more a Maxwell Lord film than a Wonder Woman film. And I don't know, it just felt like so many weird decisions. And I didn't think it was great. I don't think it's great now to watch back. I think it's kind of another C-tier one for me, honestly. There's so much that annoys me so much about it. Like, the third act is not good. What's your favourite and least favourite Doctor Who logo? I have no idea, man. Again, like, design stuff, I liked, like, a lot of Eccleston's. Least favourite? I don't know. I don't know for sure. I'd have to look at them all at once. Zack Snyder's Justice League. Zack Snyder's Justice League is 4+ hours. I can't even remember. I lost track. I did it in one sitting. And if you say, oh, you shouldn't have done it in one sitting, most people don't. You should really watch it as more of a miniseries. Okay. Despite him putting like acts or chapters in, it's meant to be a film. This is what he wanted to release, you know, in cinemas, where you would have watched it all at once. Wasn't going to be a Justice League Part 1 and Part 2. There was never any discussion about that. This was what he wanted to make as a film. So I viewed it as a film. 4 hours plus of stuff that was so intensely Zack Snyder-y. Look, I'm not going to try and say it's not better than the original theatrical cut. I think despite going for the darker tone, which I don't entirely agree with, I think despite going for twice as long as the theatrical cut, I do think it's better. I think it is like mental. Like, you couldn't have released that in cinemas. You know, he's going, oh, this is my original vision. If Warner Brothers hadn't compromised me, and all of his fans are going, oh my god, it's so good. It's not a film. It is a miniseries. It's not a film. Doesn't matter how good it is. It's not a film. If he can't fit what he needs to into like max 3 hours, then you shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be in the cinematic universe game where you're trying to drag in people by the millions to try and make over $1 billion. It's mental. It is a better film than Justice League. Is it, like, phenomenal? No, I don't think it's anywhere near the best DCEU film. I think there are some stretches where he goes so completely off on one. Introducing Martian Manhunter like that is fucking mental. Oh, I'll be around next time you need me. What the fuck was that? The Joker thing at the end? I despised every moment of that. The whole fact that, I don't know if it was just meant to be, it was, I guess, just meant to be an epilogue where we could have gone. He was trying to go get that hype up for restoring the Snyderverse, which is never going to happen. And if it does, there is no DC universe, you know? But, Yeah. No, that post-apocalyptic scene at the end was mental. With Jared Leto's Joker just kind of monologuing for 10 minutes about fucking nothing. About absolutely fucking nothing. That was crazy to me. Intensely insane. Overall, it had a lot of good stuff in it. It had so much better characterization for most of the characters. It did explain things more. The story made sense more. I'm only going B. I'll go B. But I'm definitely not going higher. I think, again, he's just so far up his own hole. 10% of that 4 hours was in slow motion. 10%. That's so stupid. That's too much. You know, without slow motion, the film would be under 4 hours. Like, it would be, you know, oh, it's crazy. And then the Suicide Squad. And this is a showing from DC. As much as it's still R-rated, they still don't seem to quite understand how to make a cinematic universe that's going to work. You know? It is... it's just that good, you know? It's just that good. There's no question for me. I love James Gunn's style. I loved Guardians of the Galaxy 1 so much. I had a lot of fun with, like, Slither. But this is... everything it should be. The Suicide Squad is a memey property. As a whole property, as an idea, it's super memey. These films and these comics, if like people complaining, saying the DC films should be more serious, Suicide Squad, oh, it's too jokey and memey, they got James Gunn in to do this different style film. No. They looked at a comic, which I don't think they did in 2016 so much, and they said, oh yeah, Suicide Squad comics are often very funny. Maybe that would work. Because it already has for Shazam. And Aquaman wasn't full comedy, but it had a lot of that style. This has worked for us, you know? It's not basing even on what was successful for Marvel. It's basing on what's been successful for them. So anyone who complains about the Suicide Squad and why they got James Gunn in and stuff is fucking insane. James Gunn came in and made a phenomenal comic book film. That's what it is. It's so good. John Cena's Peacemaker. I cannot wait to see that show. That was so funny. Margot Robbie really got to shine as Harley Quinn in this in a way that, personally, I don't feel like she did in Birds of Prey or the first Suicide Squad. You know, she really got, like, the scene where she makes her escape from being captured. That is so good. Idris Elba, people just said, was like a Will Smith and Deadshot photocopy. I was worried about that too, but he's not. And like then King Shark, Ratcatcher, these absolute B characters are now some of the best represented, best done characters in the DCEU. Flat. James Gunn should just make everything. It's so good. It's so good. I love that film. I had such a good time with that. And it's such a drastic improvement to the first Suicide Squad, you know? That really... It's not a franchise builder still. You know, DC still... Look at these. Great films. These four DCEU ones that... Well, DCEU era. Joker is not a DCEU film. That's the problem. DC's focused on making great films. Sometimes they do that. Sometimes they do not. But whichever... They're not good at building like an actual universe. None of this is even trying. Wonder Woman, 1984, obviously set in a different time period, but it did nothing to push the universe forward. The Suicide Squad killed 80% of the characters who were in it. Nothing for really pushing the universe forward, no matter how good it was. I mean, the Peacemaker show, sure, but that's not doing anything for the DCU, you know, really. Aquaman makes us go, oh, a big Justice League character that we're really on board with, but you pushing for a James Gunn verse? I mean, I feel like if you give James Gunn the actual, like, full reins on, like, an Avengers or Justice League film, like, he would really make it work. But I feel like he's just at his best with these ones, with Guardians of the Galaxy and Suicide Squad, with characters that aren't well known, and because he really gets to do his own take on them so much more and people don't question it, you know? Nobody went, oh no, this isn't the Star-Lord we want on screen. There's never been a Star-Lord on screen. And most people, general Marvel fans that didn't read comics, really, a lot of them didn't know who Star-Lord was. And it's the same thing with Ratcatcher 2 and Peacemaker. He gets to take these characters and they are James Gunn characters all the way through to their core. You don't get to do that if you do a Justice League film. They'd go, oh, James Gunn's Superman isn't like this Superman or this one, or, you know. So I think that'll be the problem with that. But, I mean, whatever he does next, I'm super hyped for it. I mean, he's obviously doing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 next, but if he does another DC film, like, it could be incredible. That's all I'm saying. But that's us, guys. That is this one done. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's definitely tilted towards the lower end of the scale. DC, they've made a lot of bad films. Through every part of their era, you know, their very first ones down here. A lot of their ones from like the 70s, 80s are here. 90s are here. Modern day, there's plenty of them. Through the noughties and into this decade. They made a lot of bad movies, guys. They have made good movies too, okay? They have. It's just that as a universe, they're going nowhere. If they don't Flashpoint reboot, soft reboot, then they need to like full reboot at some stage. That's just how it's going to be. And it's a real shame. It's a real shame. I don't know. But thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this tier list. I have literally streamed now for about 8 days in a row. Yep. But we're streaming maybe, again, I don't know for sure. It looks like maybe I'll be playing Golf It again with a couple of the same people I was playing with last week tomorrow night on stream. That'll be kind of late night stream like last night's was. Kind of starting somewhere between like 7 and half 8, hopefully. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. And then I think we're doing something a bit shorter on Finish It this week on Friday. Looks like maybe Gone Home, I think, is winning the poll at the moment. But we'll see how we go with that. And any of you guys that want, it's not just for members this week, can go vote on the fan cast on the community page for the channel. I think a lot of you already have. I think High School Musical is winning. Looks like we might be doing that. But you guys can go and vote. Anyone can. It's a public post this week. It normally isn't. If you want to be able to vote on those kind of things every week, multiple times a week for different things on the channel, then you can get a membership. It's fairly cheap, but it is money. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you again. I mean, pretty much any day. You can, if you just assume I'm streaming every day, you'll be right a lot more often than you'll be wrong, okay? But thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you later.